Gen Z men with college degrees now have the same unemployment rate as non-grads, a sign that the higher education payoff is dead. And yeah, man, not a lot of people are going to college, man, and there's a lot of reasons why. But I'll give you my reason, okay? One of the big reasons why I'm not going to college anymore is because, well, I wasn't exactly good at it. I sucked academically. If you take a look at my track record starting from elementary school, you could see that I was destined to be a massive failure. Not kidding about that. When I was younger, I would not pay attention. I didn't understand the material, or actually, I just didn't pay attention. My mind was always wandering off. I was always creating stories in my imagination, characters. I was really artistic in terms of, imagination. But when it came to academics, I didn't exactly perform well. Now, it could be because of a lot of reasons. I often reflect on how I performed and how the environment treated me. And I could tell you that the environment wasn't exactly favorable to me. I did have a couple of teachers that did kind of poke fun at me, mainly because I guess my behavior, or just they didn't like me. I remember that very clearly because I think back and I'm thinking to myself like, man, I didn't know that oftentimes the teacher was humiliating me. I don't even know if he knew that. There was also this moment where I do remember being, I believe in kindergarten or even first grade. And I remember telling myself like, where's my male teacher? I want a male teacher. Oftentimes we would have female teachers. So I didn't exactly have any real role models that I could look up to in terms of like, male role models, because the females were there. But the thing is that for some reason I just could not relate to it. And I do clearly remember thinking to myself, I wish I had a male teacher. It wasn't until like fourth grade that I got my first male teacher, and it was it was pretty impactful. And I remember when I first got into that class in fourth grade, I was excited about that. But what I didn't recognize at the time was that even male teachers are probably a little more cruel than female teachers. And the reason why I can say that is because in my fifth grade, not the fourth grade teacher, he actually cared about my education. I really respected him. But in my fifth grade teacher was also male, but I didn't recognize that I was being humiliated in front of the students. Oftentimes I was, even though he saw it as a joke at times, and I kind of do appreciate sometimes the jokes, because he did was kind of like, I'll give you an example of what the joke sounded like. So I remember like he was so upset one time that he was just calling out the grades of each student. And I remember out of everybody, okay, there were some F's in those exams, right? Because he had a pile and he was just calling out everybody who was having, he pretty much called out all the grades. But when it got to me, I was the only F minus. And I remember it got all the students talking like, yo, he got an F minus. Yeah, Sonic got an F minus and I was the joke, and I know that I don't know if it was a joke, but I don't think he handed me my test, but I do remember him saying like, you got an F minus. And think about that, man. Like, even though it's a joke, you're going to pay, there's a cost to it. And I paid with my psychology. And what that psychological cost looks like, it takes the form of a student who is going through school and being completely numb to the grades that he's receiving, because I was completely numb. Nothing ever gave me a boost in confidence to perform well academically. So as I continued my academic career, I didn't perform well. And so when I got to college, I immediately knew like college wasn't for me. After all, I ended up dropping probably 15 to 16 classes. That's how you know that college isn't for you, when you've dropped that many classes. I believe you're only supposed to drop 3 or 4 if you want to get into a good school, a good university. I couldn't do that anymore because, well, I was terrible at academics. So I wasn't prepared for that at all, And it doesn't stop there. Also in high school too, a male teacher called me lazy. They were way more straightforward, but they definitely had an effect on me. And even if you did have a great education with very little obstacles in your way, meaning like psychological biases, which I don't believe, I'm sure that all men have experienced this for sure. It doesn't mean that you're out of the loop. It just means that now you have to contend with the obstacles when you're job hunting. And sometimes there's going to be locations, workplaces, where they're going to be hostile towards men. Like, I potentially know about this yogurt place that serves soft yogurt in a cup. I don't know if it's true, but according to the employees there, who are all women, by the way, they said that one of the reasons, well, actually, it was only 2 women that told me this, but they told me that they don't hire men. Apparently, some of the reasons as to why they don't hire men is because men tend to be a little more aggressive with customers. They also have like this demeanor that intimidates them, and that's why he hires female employees, because they're softer in the face. Another reason is because when he did have male employees, apparently, they wouldn't work as efficiently as women would. Like literally, this is what they're telling me. Now, is it true? I don't know. They're the only ones who apparently heard this. And if that's the case, then, they should call, what is that thing called? The Equals Employee Opportunity Center or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, man, I'm sure that if he keeps doing that and he keeps running his mouth like that, eventually someone's going to open their mouth. They're going to go and tell the EEOC, and he's going to get busted. I mean, I think he can already get busted, because literally there's only like one guy there and the rest of them are all women. And I know that's not an exclusive job just for women, because there are other locations with the same brand, with the same name, that I've gone to that do have men working for them. But this is the only location that doesn't have any men, except the shift leader, who is also a friend of mine. Something's going on. And lastly, I believe that in a sense, the job market is crashing, meaning that like this entire format that they used to use, where they would rely on the person to have a degree, that shit is fucking out of here, bro. Look at this. It's a stark sign that the job market boost once promised by a degree has all but vanished, and that employers care less about credentials than they once did when hiring for entry-level roles. That's good. Get that shit out of here, bro, because it was absolutely ridiculous how a lot of people wanted these like credentials, meaning that they wanted some sort of experience, or they wanted experience, when the reality is, well, these guys just graduated. How is it that they can get experience if you're not willing to give them that experience? And the last thing that I want to mention to you guys is that for over the next decade, healthcare occupations are projected to grow much faster than the rate for all occupations, translating to about 1.9 million openings each year. So this means that the healthcare occupations like nursing, or nurse assistants, or whatever the case is, like these jobs are going to be high in demand. So if you are a man, I'm going to encourage you, because I want men to also pursue nursing. If you are a man, I highly encourage you. If you really want a good paying job, become a nurse, man. I heard that nursing has its days. Some of them are tough. I think they're 12-hour shifts in some states, in others 8 or something like that. I don't know. But this is projected to grow, because obviously AI, they don't get sick, but humans do. So this job is definitely going to be absolutely in demand, and there's job security behind this. So, oh, and by the way, I want to tell you guys this as well, because this was told to me by a nurse who was a male, and he told me that if you want respect, to become a registered nurse. Now, I don't know exactly what he means by that. I don't know what respect looks like in the medical field, but he said that if you want to be respected, be a registered nurse, because he was a private nurse where he would go from home to home. But he said that it was very stressful, and oftentimes he would get patients that were very cranky, mainly because, or callous, because obviously they're going through their illness, and you can't get away from that person. So also, I came here to see the list for top careers in healthcare, and I'm definitely going to link this down below if you guys want to see some ideas as to what you guys could potentially pursue if you guys decide to pursue the medical field. So I'll leave this in the link in the description down below. It's going to be a link so you guys can check it out. So yeah, some of these are like, physician assistant, nurse practitioner, dental hygienist, which is second place, physical therapist. So yeah, I'll leave this down below, and you guys can check that out. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to leave you guys with that. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, and yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys.